Hello, I'm back again. Welcome to the channel. You know you're always welcome. Please do not neglect to make comments or to subscribe to the channel. It enables me to continue with these news bulletins, and I want to pick up here on Stopwatch. Now, Stopwatch, as they're excited and they've kicked off a national research project speaking to young women about their experiences of stop and search. You know, this police idea, they stop people and they search them for drugs, weapons, whatever. The project was devised in response to girls and young women reporting stop and search powers encounters to be that they were frightening and they're humiliating experiences for them. They expressed frustration that despite being directly impacted by stop and search powers, they're excluded from community and policing discussions and left feeling voiceless and ignored. The research we are conducting will give, this is what they're saying, the research we're conducting will give a voice to empower these and other young women. And we're talking about young women, 14, 15 upwards, but still, the team carried out the research where young women ages between, they're saying 16 to 30. I said 14 because I know of a 15-year-old girl who was strip searched in school. But they did it between 16 and 30 years of age. They were trained, this is the young women that they chose, they were trained in research skills by Dr. Louise Owusu Kwarteng. I hope I've got the name right. She's the Associated Dean of and Director of Undergraduate Research at Greenwich University, or Greenwich University, whichever pronouncing you use. At the heart of this research project is the developing and upskilling of the young women who have been trained as researchers. We believe, she's speaking now, we believe that with the continued training and assistance, the research teams can be supported to influence policy using an array of new skills in research, policy and advocacy. So these young ladies from 16 to 30, they were chosen to be trained as researchers, and so they gain a skill and they use their skill whilst training, which I think is a marvellous idea. I was a lecturer and in colleges, and I really enjoyed that idea and used to implement it. Everyone involved in the project is female, and the motto is research about us, by us, for us. Research about us, by us, for us. Carrying on what they're saying, we believe that women are best placed to research and tell their own stories, and young women being interviewed by their peers will produce a comfortable and authentic interview process. I agree too. Women who have been subject to this humiliation will speak, I should imagine, better to another woman, especially one that they can relate to. So yes, I agree with that. Once the interview phase ended, the research team held a 4-week training course on data analysis, and they developed and facilitated by advisory board member Dr. Becky Clark in order to go through all the interview data collected in order to produce the report I'm reporting on now. So this is not done by people who don't know. We've got a research director who does undergraduate research at Greenwich University, and that's a doctor. Then we've got a doctor who's Dr. Koska Duff. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Dr. Becky Clark was the one who taught them how to analyse data collected. Now, the research was influenced by the experience of Dr. Koska Duff, and she was detained in 2013 after offering a legal advice card to a black teenager who was stopped and searched, and she saw it going on, and she gave him she had some cards and she offered one. Now, what happened to her? Well, the Metropolitan Police arrested her, and they degraded her. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'll carry on with this report. Where shall I carry on from? Let's see. Yes, The Metropolitan Police have apologised to Dr. Duff for the sexist, derogatory and unacceptable language used while she was being strip searched. On CCTV footage, officers can be heard laughing about her clothes and talking about her underwear. These are male officers, by the way. She was searched by female officers, but the door was left open. The force said it had settled her claim and had sincerely apologised. But this is after she'd gone through this awful, humiliating experience. Now, Dr. Duff, Oscar Duff, she is assistant professor at the University of Nottingham. And as I say, she was trying to give out Know Your Rights card to this 15-year-old boy in London. Officers accused her of obstruction and arrested her for giving a card to a 15-year-old boy. Why are they stopping him? Why has she got a 15 years of age? He needed his parents or his guardian there. But so she acted in a way to help him. She gave him a card with his rights on, covering stop and search. And for that charitable deed, she's arrested. But when she's arrested, she's taken to the station and strip searched. Now I'll go into that because it's worse than that. She told the BBC that she decided in a spirit of passive resistance. I went limp rather than walking to the police van willingly. She was taken to Stoke Newington police station where Sergeant Curtis Howard approved a strip search. Now, she's giving a form to a boy that gives him his rights. Why did she need to be strip searched? What were they looking for? More cards, which are not illegal to give out? The customary sergeant asked two female officers to cut off her clothes. In a cell after Dr. Duff would not give her name and because they did not know anything about her or what she was carrying. So, because they did not know, they acted upon what they did not know. Police are supposed to act on what they know. You can't arrest people, you can't strip search people because you don't know what they're carrying. Unless you suspect them of a crime. What was the crime? She gave a card to a young boy. Any sensible person, let alone a trained police officer, should know. And he's a sergeant, so he's not only gone through the police academy to be taught, but he's then gone on to the sergeant's exams. And he approves a strip search for someone who's handed over a card. So they cut off her clothes because she wouldn't give her name and they didn't know what she'd got in her clothes, in her pockets. Search the pockets. Don't cut the clothes. Now listen to this. She's resisting. This is what the sergeant said. She's resisting. Resistance is futile. Treat her like a terrorist. I don't care, he said. That was Sergeant Curtis Howard. So he knows she's not a terrorist, but he said treat her like a terrorist. It's disgusting. I think he should have been dismissed, quite frankly, but he wasn't. And I'll tell you that a bit later on because I followed the case through. Dr. Duff described the strip search, which was carried out by the male officers, as very violating and a humiliating experience. She said it left her with multiple injuries, and I've seen the photographs. She's got red bruises and red marks up her arms where they twisted her arms, and it's really, really bad. So she was left with multiple injuries and post-traumatic stress disorder. They caused significant injury and subjected me to degrading treatment. She said, when they had me completely naked, they touched my breasts and lifted them up to check underneath and between my legs. She's not suspected of having a weapon. She's not suspected of having drugs. She's suspected, and they knew she gave a leaflet to this boy. Totally unnecessary. A total intimidation that the police didn't like the fact that she was trying to help a young boy they'd got surrounded by giving him a leaflet. Dr. Duff added she heard the male voices talking through the open door, and feared they might be watching. On CCTV footage Dr. Duff managed to obtain years after the research, officers can be heard laughing about her hair, saying her clothes stank, and talking about her underwear. Very, door open, they're talking about her clothing. How did they know anything about her clothing unless they were watching when it was cut off her? Voyeurism. It's illegal. But the police don't suffer for doing it, do they? Dr. Duff was then later charged with 2 counts of assaulting a police officer and 1 charge of obstructing a police officer. But she was acquitted of all charges following a trial. Had to go to trial on these trumped up charges which she hadn't been arrested for. The Met. Now I'm going to tell you about this Sergeant Curtis Howard. I told you I would. The Metropolitan Police held a misconduct hearing in August 2018. Halfway through the hearing, Sergeant Howard was cleared of gross misconduct without giving any evidence. He didn't have to go. Panel Chairman Maurice Cohen said there was reasonable grounds for justifying Sergeant Howard's actions in authorising a strip search. What reasonable grounds were they, eh? In a statement, the Metropolitan Police said in November 2021, the Metropolitan Police settled a claim following the arrest of a woman in Hackney in May 2013. So that was, listen to that, arrested 2013, and they claimed in 2021, 8 years later. 8 years later. We have sincerely apologised to the complainant for the language used while she was being custody and any stress caused. Following the conclusion of the civil claim, allegations, so she had to take a civil claim out. Allegations of misconduct relating to these comments were referred to the Directorate of Professional Standards. No reply yet. No reply yet. Years later. No response. They say it's under investigation. Police standards have since this case... This is me now, I've finished that. Police standards have since this case deteriorated, and many instances are hidden from the majority of the public. But some have surfaced, such as people arrested for silent prayer. Have you seen them? They're standing there, silent, just standing still, and they're arrested. Are you praying? Well, maybe. Oh, you're under arrest. Because you're praying inside your head? But police have done it. They did one woman in Birmingham. Twice she won the cases and won compensation, and then they came to a third time and told her, and they said, are you praying? No. She'd said yes the other 2 times. No. Well, your mere presence gives us concern for that you're harassing people. The mere presence of standing there? It's, the police have gone crazy. Anyway, I've myself, I'm going to jump a bit because I've been a long time. I myself have been stopped violently. I was shoved against a wall, into the corner of the wall by police because a car park attendant complained I'd been back to my car on 2 occasions and put something in and taken something out of my car. The item I'd taken out was my shopping bag, and the item I put in was my fourth shopping bag. No initial contact of, hello, I'm a police officer or a police constable. We've received a call about you. Can you explain why you returned to your car on 2 occasions? Please, none of that happened. Suddenly this policeman runs up, bang, into the wall, and then a police car turns up. 2 police get out, one's a woman, one's a man. They get out and tell me I'm under suspicion, get in the car. And I went, no. I want more than suspicion. I want to know what crime I've committed. Well, we don't know. Then why have you stopped me and why have I been assaulted? Who assaulted you? And while I turned round to point him out, I caught from the corner of my eye the hand of the senior constable going to him, and he ran away. So I didn't get his number or his name. And then the police officer starts talking to me to stop me concentrating on that. I'd just come out of hospital. I wasn't fit enough to sort of to think properly or to act properly or to react properly, I should say, to the police harassment. And I refused to get in the car because they said, well, get in the car. When I said no, they said, well, it'll be less embarrassment instead of us 2 standing around you. And I said, it's more embarrassment to be seen in the back of a police car. No. Well, what you got in your pockets? I'm not telling you. What is the crime? While you were seen going backwards and forwards to your car. Yes, I went back twice. So what? What's criminal about going backwards, going shopping, taking your shopping bag, fall back, put it in the boot of your car, and going out for another one? I'm injured. I'm ill. I've only got 37% left of my heart left. I've had 5 strokes, and I've got my second replacement hip. I wanted to do 1 bag at a time. What's the criminal offence? Well, don't run from us then. I've just explained I cannot run. I've only got 37% of my heart left, my left ventricle. Oh, well, on your way then. No, I'm going to this shop. I'm not on my way. And they drove off. But I could tell if I hadn't known my rights and I didn't exercise them properly, I know that, and I'm admitting that, I could have been in trouble for nothing. This is the police actions today. Okay, so what's your experiences of policing methods? And let's have your comments. What's your comments? In the research project that these young ladies carried out, they interviewed only 25 correspondents, only 25 answered. Of these 25, the research commenced August 2022. And it was discovered by this report that, and they claimed, it showed prejudice, bias and illegality. Half the women said they were in a vehicle when they were stopped. All were black females. Almost all the women were not given any reason for the stop. And again, those who were stopped and weren't given any reason for the stop by the police, the majority were black. Some were white and some were mixed. But the mixed seemed to be called black anyway in police reports. Now, we should be aware that stop and search should be conducted under intelligence-based evidence. You can't police just can't say, oh, we'll stop that person. They have to have intelligence-based evidence. You stop and search them because you saw them on the corner and you saw the hand sort of a little package went or they saw a flashing of a knife or a weapon. That is evidence-based. But to stop people just because they're black or they're young or they're in an area where drugs or knife crimes or other crimes take place, they might live there and, they've got no choice with where they live. So it shouldn't be stop and search because willy-nilly, because they feel like it. It shouldn't be conducted on a whim of the police. Okay, So more than a third of these young women, of these 25 women, so more than a third, so a third would be 8 and a third, more than, let's say, 9, 10 of them, more, maybe 10, maybe even more, but more than a third were strip searched. Again, the majority of the girls that were strip searched were girls or young ladies, and they were black. Strip searches seem to be used on young women, as was the case of Dr. Duff. She's white, by the way. It was a case of intimidation and a punishment to humiliate, because she'd gone and give this boy a card explaining his rights. So taken to a police station, arrested, stripped, clothes cut from her. How she got home, I don't know. It was to humiliate her. It was to intimidate her. It was to punish her for interfering. And these are Gestapo tactics of Nazi Germany, and they've got no place in Britain or a free society. It's a gross misuse of power. Again, I remind listeners that your comments are welcome. Keep them clean, to the point, and I'm not going to say any more because I've been on 21 minutes now, so a bit longer than 21 minutes. So please give your comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. It doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't even cost you a cent, doesn't even cost you a rupee. It's totally free to subscribe. It does encourage me, does enable me to do these researches, find out what's going on, and give you the news that you're not getting elsewhere. You're not getting from traditional media, press, newspapers and radio and television news. They're not telling you these things. I will. But you have to subscribe to keep me going. So please do subscribe. Doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't cost a cent, doesn't even cost you a rupee. Totally free. And until the next one, be safe, be good, and goodbye from DJ. Bye now.